Hello everyone, welcome. I hope everyone can see this. It says we are officially live. I am going to do some quick housekeeping things here, so bear with me. I'm just going to put the title of today's Instagram live in the comments. So I'll do that here in a sec, sorry. Hi, my name is Caitlin. We are officially live. I'm here today with two wonderful guests, and we'll be talking to you about the HEERF 2 fund, which was previously known as the CARES fund. And then we will have our Dean of Students on to talk to us about emergency funds. So give me just one sec here, get settled. I'm going to get the title of this Instagram Live, the Wolfpack chat all set up, and then we'll get started. So get settled. We have so much good information today. I thought I could post this. I typed it earlier and I thought I could paste it, and it's not working now, so bear with me. I'm just going to get this typed up and then we'll get started. I hope everyone's doing well today. I hope everyone is warm. We got some snow here in Reno last night. I don't know where you guys are joining from, but I hope you were able to get where you needed to go safely today. And it looks like now all that snow is melted. Still a little overcast. All right, let's see. I'm going to stop talking and type so I can get going here. Let's see. HEERF 2, CARES, not fun. I want fund. And emergency. Almost done. Bear with me, guys. I know I'm boring you here. A couple more words. Link to. Okay, almost there. Okay, I hope everyone can see that. I just wanted to make sure we got that up for everyone. Okay, whew, my arms are tired after typing all that. Welcome. So today we are talking about the HEERF 2, which was previously the CARES fund, and emergency funds. So we will have the Associate Director of Financial Aid, Lourdes Gonzalez, and then we will have the Dean of Students, Leilani Coupeau. She will be talking to us about emergency funds. We have some really great information for you guys today. I hope you'll stick around. I hope you'll watch. Both of our guest speakers are going to be providing you with wonderful information about funds available for you as students. So if that sounds like something that's enticing, please stick around. If you have someone out there who you think could benefit, please tell them to join. We do strongly suggest, I know you guys watched me struggle and post my comment for a couple minutes there, but we do have a comment section. So please feel free to use that comment section to let us know what questions you may have. This is for you. So this is informational for you. And we do have people who are behind the scenes who will be available to answer those questions for you. So I hope you'll use the comments. You're more than welcome to, like I said, wave. Everyone can wave, or let me know where you're watching from today. I am excited to be here with you, and I hope that you will get as much out of this as I hope to. I'm excited to talk to both of our guest speakers and just get all the wonderful information that they have to offer. So if you're just joining us, like I said, we are here today to talk about the HEERF 2 fund, which was previously known as the CARES fund from 2020. And then we will have Leilani Coupeau, who is from our Dean of Students office, who is going to, or she is the Dean of Students actually, and she'll be talking to us about some other emergency funds that are available to you. So we'll go ahead and get started here. Our first guest is going to be Lourdes Gonzalez. She's going to be coming to us from the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships. She's the Associate Director. We have some wonderful things to cover with her today and lots of great information. So we're going to go ahead and ask her to come on here in a minute or two, and then we'll go ahead and really dive into all that wonderful information. So I hope you guys are all ready. Lourdes is set to go, so here we come. We're going to welcome her on. All right, waiting. There's always this really fun delay. Oh, there she is. Hi, Lourdes.
Hi, Katie.
How are you?
Oh, doing great. Thank you.
It's so nice to see you. We're so happy to have you today. We appreciate you taking the time to come and talk to us.
Yes.
Awesome. So, Lourdes, before we get started, why don't you give me just like a brief introduction about you and what you're here to talk to us about today?
Oh, yes, of course. My name is Lourdes Gonzalez. I'm the Associate Director of Financial Aid and Scholarships. And I have been for financial aid for almost 18 years. and, and I'm happy, thank you for the invitation. I'm happy to talk about HEERF2 and funding and how we can help our students.
Yeah, so I know that, so this was previously called the CARES Fund. So can you give us a little information about what is HEERF2 funding and what are these funds for?
Yeah, HEERF2 is the second round of higher education emergency funding that the government is giving to institutions to help students that have been affected by the coronavirus. The university has received $7.1 million.
Wow.
Yeah, in emergency funding that we are giving to students, or actually we are going to give to students in the form of grants. And the money is to be used in educational expenses that are included in the students' cost of attendance. And also it is to be used in any expense related to the coronavirus and the disruption of campus operations.
That is a lot of money,
yes,
Lourdes.
Yes. Yes, it is. We're excited, yes.
Yeah, so who is eligible to receive this HEERF2 funding?
Yeah, all degree-seeking student enrolled this spring semester who has completed FAFSA is eligible. And it is important to note, because we had some questions with the CARES Act, last year, that the student doesn't need to be receiving, they need to be Pell eligible. They don't need to be receiving the Pell Grant to be eligible. And the other big difference comparing to the CARES funding is that this time, online students, or better to say, students who are exclusively enrolled in online classes, now they can receive funding. Before, these students were excluded.
Oh, wow, that's a wonderful change.
Yes, this is great, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So in order to receive this HEERF2 funding, I'm assuming you have to fill out a FAFSA. So if you haven't filled out your FAFSA, is it too late?
No, it is not too late, but students should do it right away. By going to fafsa.gov, that's the website, they should do it right away. And they should not do it only because of these emergency funds. By completing the FAFSA, they can also be considered for other funds, federal, institution, and state funds. So they should do it, yes, and immediately.
And how long does it typically take to fill out the FAFSA?
The FAFSA right now, it takes like an hour to take, but it's worth it. And it takes like an hour. Yeah,
okay.
But it's money. We're talking about, money.
Yeah. And so, Lourdes, for students that may not be eligible to fill out the FAFSA, can they also be considered for the HEERF2 funds?
No, international, DACA, and undocumented students are not eligible for HEERF2 funding. However, we have some funds that they might be eligible for. So what we are doing is we are directing students to contact us directly at fapj@unr.edu, fapj@unr.edu, so we can find other fundings, not federal, but it could be institutional or any other fundings to help them.
Okay. And Lourdes, I think we kind of grazed over it a little bit in that when I asked you who is eligible to receive the HEERF2 funding. Can you talk just a little bit about like the types of students that can receive funding as far as like undergraduate, graduate, like medical school? Does it matter, or is everyone eligible?
Yeah, any undergraduate students are eligible. Medical students are eligible. All students are eligible. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The one condition is they need to be enrolled in this current semester. They need to be currently enrolled right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's say I am currently enrolled right now in the spring semester and I have completed my FAFSA. So am I automatically considered for HEERF2 funds, or what do I need to do?
No, it's not automatic. You will need to fill out the form. We have a request, form online. we have sent notifications to all the students. I believe it was last Monday, with a direct link to the form. It's very easy. 5 questions. It takes from 2 to 5 minutes. If you cannot find your letter, you can go directly to our website, search for HEERF, HEERF, and it will immediately, provide you with a link to that form.
It sounds like it's really a quick thing to do.
Yes,
super easy.
It is. It's very fast, very easy. One thing that they recommend the students is that they enter their NG ID correctly, because it's self-reported. If they don't give us their right ID, it will slow down the process.
Okay.
Because we need to find it, we need to match it by name, and it takes a little bit of time to match the right person in our records.
And how many digits is that student ID number, Lourdes, normally?
10.
10. Get all 10
Yes.
of them in there, right? Make sure they're correct before you do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now that we know that you have to fill out the FAFSA, you have to fill out this request form, can you give us a little bit of information about how much funding is available for each student?
Yeah, undergraduate and graduate students receive any amount from $100 to $1,200. The federal government has directed us to give priority, to give funding priority to students with the greatest need. So we are looking at the FAFSA information to look for the social circumstances for the student, and we also look at the student enrollment level. If the student is enrolled full-time, half-time, three-quarter time, less than half-time, and based on those variables and some other information that the student might have included in the request for funds, we are giving the different amounts of money.
And Lourdes, I think that there's a way for students to specify not how they'd like those funds, but let's say I'm a student and I have a past balance. Can I use this for that?
Yes, yeah. So the students will get directly. The students get directly the funds. If they don't indicate in the form, they have a question that they can indicate that the funds can be used to pay the balance. If they don't indicate it, it goes directly to the student as a direct deposit or as a check. But if they have an outstanding balance, when they complete the form, the request for funds, there is a checkbox that they selected, and then those funds are used to pay any outstanding balance.
Okay, awesome. So how long does it take for you to process these requests that come in? Like how long, if I'm a student, let's say I fill it out and I'm approved for funds, when should I expect those funds?
Yeah, it is first come, first serve. As a matter of fact, we have received about, I think over 5,000 applications this morning. At this moment, we are making awards to about 4,500 students, and they should be receiving an award communication either today or tomorrow. So it goes very, we're trying to do it very fast. It will take 7 days, within 7 days from the time the student requests funds, for them to get a notification or even receive the funds.
Okay. And they can receive them, so they should probably sign up for direct deposit, right? Is that the fastest way for them to get those funds?
Yes, if they haven't signed up for direct deposit, also my advice is to do it now. They can do it. I think it takes like a couple of days for cashiers to process that request. That's the fastest way to do it. Yeah, they get it direct. It goes directly to them. And as I said, in the form that where the students request funds, they have there, and we talked a little bit a moment ago. They have the option of having those funds to be applied directly to any balance. Yes, direct deposit is the best way. And if they don't have direct deposit with cashiers, they will receive a check.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So do these funds have any adverse effects on, let's say, other financial aid that students are receiving?
No, it doesn't. That's the great thing about these funds. So students should not be worried about these funds affecting other aid that they have already received. And it's emergency funds. So they are not considered financial aid. And they are not considered income either, so no taxation. That's another great thing about the HEERF2 funds.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes.
So, Lourdes, you've given us so much information today. I feel like we've covered so much in this quick 10 minutes of time here.
Yes.
So, to recap, I know that you guys have a lot of great information out there on the financial aid website. You guys have a wonderful FAQ page, but let's just recap since we covered so much information, just so everyone can get a quick recap. What do you want to leave us with? What are your key things?
Number one, fill out the FAFSA if you haven't completed yet. Number two, if you need any money for any educational expenses, for anything related to the coronavirus or disruption of campus operations, I encourage you to request funds by completing that form, the HEERF2 funding that is on our website. We still have money, do it. Number three is actually related to number two. Make sure you enter your ID, your entry ID correctly. So the next one will be that if FAFSA is not an option for you, check with us. Send us an email at fapj@unr.edu. We are already receiving emails. We're excited. We are
awesome.
Already helping students.
Yeah.
And number five, as you indicated, we have a lot of information on our website. We have a great FAQ page, and or you can contact us directly at finaid@unr.edu.
Awesome. Well, Lourdes, I really appreciate all this information. I know that students will really appreciate having this information. So I cannot thank you enough for just coming on today and giving us all of that information. I know it's a lot, and I thank you guys so much for all the hard work that you and your offices have been doing. I know that this is, like you said in the beginning, how much money?
7.1 million.
Whoa.
Yes, and we still have money, so yes.
All right, Lourdes. Well, it was wonderful talking with you today. Thank you so much again. I'll see you soon.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Katie.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, you guys. So that was a lot of wonderful information from Lourdes. She just kind of reviewed, if you're just coming in, she just reviewed all of the information for the HEERF2 fund, which was previously known as the CARES fund from 2020. So fill out that FAFSA, fill out the request form. It seems like there's a lot of great funds out there for students. Speaking of funds, we are going to transition next to our Dean of Students. I'm so excited to have Leilani Coupeau on today. She's going to talk to us about some emergency funds. So stick around. We have more funding information coming. I'm going to go ahead and get her in here now. Let's see. Again, the delay. Let's see here. Oh, there she is. Hi, Leilani.
Hi, Katie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Yes, I'm so excited. We just got done speaking with Lourdes about the HEERF2 emergency funds and not emergency funds, HEERF2 funds. And now we're talking with you about emergency funds.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh, go ahead. Yes.
Sorry, I was just going to say, do you want to give us a little bit of information about you and then we'll dive into the topic?
Oh, absolutely. And so first of all, thank you so much for the opportunity just to come in and speak a little bit about the emergency funds. I recently joined the UNR community. I came in September, but I feel like I've been here for a very long time and yet for only a day. And so I'm very excited to be able to talk a little bit about the emergency funds that we have available for our scholars here at the University of Nevada, Reno, because they are so important for the success of our students who rightly deserve the opportunity to go to school, to finish their academic career, and will oftentimes not have these unanticipated emergencies that just creep up. And so more often than not, like folks just need a little bit of support. And so I think it's really important that UNR has these funds available to be able to support folks as they are working towards achieving their academic goals and their academic dreams. Because it's not about them, but it's also about achieving the goals of their families and their communities. And this goes into like their personal goals as well as their, you know, their career goals. And so that's how important these funds are. And so I'm just really pleased that we have these available, both as the emergency funds, but then also, as Lourdes was talking about earlier, the HEERF funds, because they all matter when we're talking about the ways in which we can support our scholars in achieving these really important achievements. So yeah.
Yeah, oh, I'm so excited. I can hear it in your voice how much this means to you. So I feel like I just can't wait to hear all the wonderful information you have for us. So let's get right in. What are emergency funds?
Yeah, so our emergency funds are made available by student fees and gifts. And there's actually 3 different types of support that's available. We have tuition assistance, we have book funds, and we have the Marzinski funds. Okay. And so what's important to know is that each of these funds are designed and designated to meet the needs, to address very specific needs. And so it might sound like, oh yeah, so the book funds address needs around books.
Right.
The tuition funds are around tuition assistance. And then we have the Marzinski funds, which really are designed to assist with those unforeseeable costs that might come up, whether it be around housing insecurity, they might be around food insecurity, it could be around an unforeseeable medical cost. And so, but it's really around that unforeseeable, immediate, unplanned emergency that comes up that could impact or interrupt your academic plans. And so when we really think about that, if you can't pay for your books, you can't be successful in class, right? If you're worried about paying your utilities, you're not necessarily going to be successful in class, right? Yeah. And so that's the way that we're really thinking about these particular funds. Now, the reality is that we don't have a ton of money in each of these pools. It's not like we have these huge, deep pools. And so,
I mean, you don't have $7.2 million.
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that just be amazing, right? But what we try to do is really be thoughtful about how can we make the greatest impact with what we have, because people are exceptionally generous and with the gifts that they have provided, and then also the ways in which the student fees dollars have been used. And so some of these, these are student fees for students. And so that's important to know. Yeah. And there are also really generous donors who are also giving money to go toward supporting scholars who are in crisis.
Wow.
And so really kind of thinking about that is critical as we are determining how to provide support and how do we make these allocations. The things to be really thoughtful about is that as we make these allocations, we do have to have limitations on how many times people can apply for the funds.
Okay.
And what that means. So for example, I said that we've got 3 funds. We have a book fund, we have a tuition fund, and then we have the Marzinski fund. Mm-hmm. So for example, so you can apply for each fund once throughout your academic career.
Okay.
So people say, like, what does that actually mean? So for example, say my first semester, say I'll use myself as an example.
Okay.
So for my first semester, maybe I am having difficulty paying for books. So I pay for my books, or I request for assistance with books. Mm-hmm. I'm awarded assistance with books.
Okay.
So think about it as one and done. So I'm awarded book assistance, and then I'm no longer eligible for book assistance, but I can still have assistance with tuition and with the emergency assistance or the Marzinski fund.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean I'm no longer eligible for these other two funds.
Okay.
So I still have eligibility for the other 2 funds.
Okay.
Which I think is really critical to understand. So it's not, I have to make this decision, so that creates more stress.
Right.
That's not our intent.
Okay.
So say my 4th semester comes around and something critical happens, like, oh, I don't know, COVID. COVID
just like a pandemic.
COVID, right? And so that has impacted me because I have lost my job. People that I love have lost their jobs. And so that has impacted my ability to pay for tuition, and perhaps I'm being evicted. Okay, so I need a little bit of support.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I also understand no one's going to be able to, this particular fund will not be able to pay my rent, and it's not going to pay all my tuition, but sometimes it's just about like that small amount of pressure release that will allow me some breathing room.
Okay. Yeah.
We will not make somebody say you have to choose between one or the other. If we can provide that support, we will provide that support if it fits within the parameters of that particular fund.
Okay.
If it doesn't, we cannot.
Right.
But if it does, we will say we can do an allotment from here, an allotment from here.
Okay.
Okay. So, and then once you've done that, you're no longer eligible for those funds. And so it's important for folks to understand that we try our best to serve as many people as possible with the funds that we have available. We don't go around saying like, you get money and you get money.
Right.
Because the other thing to note is that folks can request the funds year round.
Okay.
And so it's, as long as we have funds in the account,
okay,
they are available year round.
Okay. And so, Leilani, can you talk a little bit about who is eligible for funds? So I know we have so many different types of students on campus. So who's eligible for these emergency funds?
Absolutely. So these funds are designated specifically for undergraduate students who are currently enrolled at UNR.
Okay.
So that is the parameter at which we have to, that's the qualifier, right? So you need to be an undergraduate student currently enrolled at UNR.
Okay.
If you're a graduate student, we ask that we send them over to our Graduate Student Association where there are funds available. Okay. We just cannot serve our graduate students with these particular funds.
Gotcha.
And so if an undergraduate student comes to us and they have a FAFSA on file, great. If they don't have a FAFSA on file, then we still serve them, and we ask them to either complete their FAFSA, or if they are not eligible to submit a FAFSA, we ask them to complete their institutional methodology.
Okay, and that the institutional, I always have a hard time saying this, the institutional methodology, that can be found on the university's website, right?
It absolutely can.
Okay.
And that would be for international students. It can be for undocumented folks as well. And so what we try to do is make sure that everybody, that folks, regardless of their status, that they would be, as undergraduate students, that they are eligible. Okay. So I see a question in here, how about international PhD students? So international PhD students are graduate students. So again, we would then ask them, direct them or refer them over to the Graduate Student Association, because that's where they would be able to be ask more questions about the funding that would be available for them. Okay.
And so how would you request those funds? Like, do we call you? Do we email you?
So there is actually an intake form available on the Dean of Students website. Okay. And so we ask that you complete the, we ask that you complete the intake form that is available on the Dean of Students website. Okay. And then we ask you just to describe what your situation is at this particular moment. We will then schedule a meeting with you. And so sometimes that feels like a lot that we're asking you to do, a lot, maybe some hoops to jump through. But we're very intentional about asking you to have that meeting with us. Because at times what we also find out is that there might be some additional concerns that are popping up. Okay. So it's not just about that particular request for emergency fund support, but there might be some academic advising concerns. We got to get you over to your academic advisor. Yeah. You might not have that FAFSA on file, so we need to make sure that you get your FAFSA completed. Right. There might also be a petition, or there might be an appeal that needs to also be completed, and so we can guide you through that process, or even talk to you about where do I find the institutional methodology form? Yeah. Where do I find this appeal form? How can I actually navigate these particular processes, and who do I go to for questions? And we can assist the people that we meet with through those particular processes and actually help create a plan so that it's not just go here. We try to do warm handoffs and create a plan for folks, but we don't do the work solely for them. So we work with folks and say, okay, so here is a strategy.
Yeah.
And these are the things you need to do. You got some homework. I've got some homework.
Yeah.
Let's do this together. And by the way, if we're going to be able to grant you some emergency funds, here's some emergency funds that will be awarded to you. So that's also going to be on your way.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Awesome. So it sounds like you guys really try and make it like a holistic process versus just, you know, here's this. So it's like let's look at this as a whole puzzle versus, you know, kind of individually. Okay.
Absolutely.
So I think you kind of already talked a little bit about what expenses are eligible. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that, or you feel like we covered that okay?
I think I covered that okay, but one piece that I do want to mention is that if someone has applied for the HEERF 2 funds, they can still apply for the emergency funds, and vice versa. If you've applied for emergency funds, please fill out that form. Please fill it out. Okay, like that is very important.
Okay.
So that is something to continue to consider, because they don't exclude. They are not mutually exclusive.
Okay. Good to know. And what other types of funds do you have available? So I know we kind of talked about like those 3 areas of funding, but do you work with any like other departments on campus? I know you kind of talked a little bit about the graduate students, but what else do you know that's out there for students?
So we are responsible for the administration of those 3 funds that I mentioned: the tuition assistance, the book fund, and the Marzinski fund.
Yeah.
We also work very closely with financial aid. Sometimes I feel like they're my besties. I call them all the time.
They're good besties to have.
They are so good. My colleagues over in financial aid are just, they're fantastic. And so I work very closely with them for us to help. I try to figure out what are some other options, but I also know that our colleges are also have various emergency funds. And so we do communicate with each other to see what schools do have additional funds available, where they are in their processes, if they have to stop with the awards, if they have just opened their awards. And so we try to keep that information flowing so that we're not ping-ponging people around.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I think that is a disservice to everyone, and it just causes a lot of frustration. So we try to keep the communication open, rather than say, "Well, I can't help you. Go figure it out." And sometimes that works, and sometimes we need to do different. So we figure that out. But that's one of the ways in which we're learning about, because new funds come in every day because there are donors and that decide to establish new funds as well. And so as more emergency funds are established, we try to open up that communication and clarify it for our scholars.
Awesome. Well, you've given us a lot of information today. I feel like I've learned so much from both you and Lourdes. So kind of what I did with Lourdes was like, can you give us a recap, things that you want us to know to leave with?
Absolutely. So please fill out that intake form. And this is what I've been telling people. Please don't just say, I need money. That's not helpful. But don't feel like you need to put in like a 10-page essay. So briefly describe what the concerns are, and because it helps us get a better idea of what the concern is and prepare for different resources that we might need to have on hand so we can better provide the support and prepare for the conversation. Really think about how do I frame this? Be prepared to actually talk about your situation. Okay. Because sometimes that's really difficult, talking about your crisis.
Right.
And so I don't expect you to be perfect in describing and having the right words. Mm-hmm. But if someone is not comfortable talking about being evicted, or if someone is not comfortable talking about food insecurity, and they just say, like, I've got some troubles.
Right.
I can't help somebody. But if they're talking about in broader strokes,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I've been having difficulties with my landlord.
Okay.
When I go to the grocery store, I'm not able to, like, I'm buying a lot of canned foods. That gives me a better idea of how to gain entry or how to start a conversation. So then I can say, okay, this helps me better understand what is actually happening. Then it's been rough.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
helpful. So
Right.
try to, you know, create or be more comfortable with having that conversation.
Okay.
I don't need to know all your business, but I need to know a little bit of the business so that we can provide a little bit more understanding for that resource.
Yeah.
Because we've got to better understand what the concerns are, because it might be more than just money that is needed, emergency funds that's needed. Monitor your emails for follow-up instructions, and we might also need clarification. And so after we have our meeting, please monitor your email. That's something that's very important.
Okay.
Because if we do need that follow-up information, that might delay the disbursement of the funds. It could also delay the disbursement of services. Like, it really just, we need to have that email contact. And then lastly, the thing to really remember is that we try to help as many students as possible. And so our allocations are going to be smaller.
Okay.
And so it's really important for us to help folks understand, like, how to manage their expectations. And so they may come in with hopes that we'll pay a tuition bill, and we just cannot do that.
Yeah.
But we want to be able to alleviate some of the pressure, to do that pressure release. And so that's what our hope is, that we can make it not as stressful.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to talk to us. And I thank you for all of the work that you do and all of the work that your staff does in helping our scholars and just helping them out as best you can. So I really appreciate you, and I will talk with you soon.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for hosting this fantastic opportunity. So have a wonderful day.
All right. You too. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. All right, everyone. Well, it's safe to say we got a lot of wonderful information today. I thank you both, Lourdes and Leilani, for taking time out of your busy schedules to provide us all that wonderful information. I hope you guys got as much out of this as I did. I learned so much, and I'm so thankful for all of the information. So, yeah, do what they said. Fill out your FAFSA, request those HEERF2 funds, and if you are needing assistance, make sure that you fill out that intake form with the Dean of Students. So thank you so much, everyone, for stopping by, and we will see you soon. Go Pack!